Hey guys, in today's video I wanted to show you how I crocheted one of my love monsters. This is for Valentine's Day, and if you watch my recent haul video, you've seen this guy already. He was the first pattern, or the first one that I made when I created this pattern, and he does kind of look like an Among Us character. The basis on all of this is basically the same, but in that video I mentioned that I did all of the eyes because I wanted to make like a little quote that said I love you, and then kind of match with the theme. And then this one turned out like a ghost, but I still think it looks pretty cute. So yeah, the base is the same on all of them. The only difference is I added hands or ears to this, so it's definitely an easy pattern that you can alter to choose how you want it to look. Before I let you know what you need, I do like to show you guys my little rough draft. So this is my drawings, and I know I'm not an artist, but this is how I came up with the idea. So I might want to do some hearts on the one I'm making today, and I'm going to make him purple. This drawing right here, I don't know what it was. It kind of looks like a tooth, but maybe I'll also add some wings. I don't know yet, but yeah. Basically, if you know how to do the base, you can choose to add whatever you want because everything else is just little accessories. That's why I made like the mouth different on these two and none on this guy. But yeah, so that's my drawing of it. And then for my written pattern, so if you watch my videos before, you already know that I don't really like written patterns. I don't even read them myself. I always like to wing it. So the one I have here is of course my rough draft. I haven't written this up nicely yet. This is what I barely finished last week, and I'm trying to get this up before Valentine's Day, so this is why it looks like this. But yeah, so this is the pattern for my Valentine's monster. Also, I know I don't need to really show this because you'll see the tutorial, but I do like to show you guys my thought process of how, these things come along. But now I'll let you know what you'll need for this video. I will be using the Big Twist Value yarn in the color Soft Purple. You can choose to make your monster whatever color you like. I did want to make a pink one, but I only have one pink color of yarn right now, and it's this guy right here, and I'm not really in love with this color, so I'm going to go with a Soft Purple today. I'll also be using a 4mm crochet hook, a stitch marker, and some scissors, a hot glue gun, stuffing or fiber fill. You will also need a threading needle. You will also need some safety eyes, or if you don't even want to use safety eyes, you can use felt and just create a shape if you want. But I don't really know what I'm going to use for this video yet because I'm filming this before I actually create the monster. I think I might go with these. I'm not sure the size of this, but if I don't go with this size, I'll probably use one of these over here. So this is 8mm safety eyes. They're just all different colors. This one right here is, I think this one is either, this has to be 14mm, and then the smaller ones are 12, and this is 12mm right here. So again, you can choose whatever size eyes you want, and it doesn't need to really be perfect or anything because you can see they're all different sizes. This one is more ghost-like, so if you want this, this one is the 12mm safety eyes. For the accessories, you can choose to be as creative as you like. You don't even have to make it look like mine. But if you wanted to have a mouth like this, I did use some black thread. If you wanted a mouth like this one, I did use black felt and red felt. For the hearts, I did use white felt on this one. So I have some white felt here. Now, I didn't have pink. So for these hearts right here, I did use a little foam mousse thing, and it works just fine. You will also need a pipe cleaner. I almost forgot what this is called, but I did use this pipe cleaner to stick it onto this one so I can have it stick out to the top. And you can also create another heart to cover the backing of this. I didn't because it was so hard to create a similar heart to cover the back of this. But yeah, so you can use the foam or the felt. I also used the pipe cleaner on this one to make it stick out more, and it was nicer because since the felt is white and the pipe cleaner is white, it kind of matches. So I didn't really have to cover the backing on that one. And then this one, I just stuck it directly onto the hand. Now in this video, I will do the ears and the hands, even though I most likely won't put it on the monster I'm making today, but I'll just show you the two different versions, and then of course this one has no hands. We are going to begin by, oh my god. All right, so let's begin by, what the heck? It's 6 in the morning and there's a cat just screaming like randomly. So if you hear that, it's not my cat. I don't know where it's coming from, but we're going to start by taking our yarn, and let's start with a magic circle. We are going to be starting off with the first leg. So to create a magic circle, let's take our yarn and just place it on our fingers. I like to hold it with my thumb, and then I'll go around my fingers and I'll create an X at the front. And then I'll just bring this yarn back down, and I'm going to take my pinky and hold on to that yarn, not too tight because you do need it to move when we're going into the circle. Now let's take our crochet hook, go inside the circle, and let's go ahead and grab that first part of that X, well, this part right here, and pull it through. And then I'll just twist up a bit. And then you're going to go again into that same yarn on the side and just go under, grab that yarn, and pull it through. I'm gonna let go really quick so you can see There's our circle. Now I'm just going to tighten it up a bit. I do like to pull on this yarn to make the circle smaller because I do crochet in a smaller circle. I prefer it that way, but if you don't like that, you don't have to pull it as tight as I do. Now we're going to single crochet 6 times into our circle. When you're going into your circle, you need to go around that circle plus this yarn because this is how you adjust the circle. So go inside your circle, grab your yarn, pull it through. You now have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through both loops. That's 1 single crochet. I'll show that one more time slowly. So I'm going to go inside the circle, grab the yarn, pull it through. I have my 2 loops on the hook, yarning over, and pulling through both loops. So now I need to do that 4 more times. Now once you have your 6 single crochets, you can take this yarn and pull it, and it'll close the circle right up, and you're now done with round 1. At this point, if you like to put a stitch marker here, you can, but honestly, most likely you will be able to keep track because in the next round, all you're doing is increasing into each one of these stitches, which means you'll end up with 12 stitches in total because you do have a total of 6 right now. So for round 2, let's go ahead and just increase into each stitch with a single crochet. So take your crochet hook, go into that first stitch, insert your hook through, grab your yarn, pull it through. There's my 2 loops on the hook, yarning over, and pulling through both. That was 1. You have to do another one into the same stitch because this is an increase. Remember, we're just doing single crochets. Yarning over, pulling through both loops. Okay, so I just increased into that first stitch. I'll increase into the next one now. So let's go into that stitch. Grab the yarn, pull it through. There's my 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through both. That was 1 into the next stitch. I need to do another one into the same stitch. So going into the same stitch, grab that yarn, pull it through. There's my 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through both. So now I'm just going to repeat that until I get 12 stitches total in round 2. Once you're done with round 2, you should have 12 stitches and you're basically done with the increasing because this is the little leg. It is not big at all, so that's all I did for my increases. So now you can go ahead and take your stitch marker and add it into that stitch. And then for round 3 and 4, you're just creating the length. So if you want to make your legs a little bit longer than this, you can go ahead and add more rows, but I'm only doing 2 rows, which means, or rounds 3 and 4. And basically you just want to single crochet into each one of these stitches. So you're not changing any stitch count, just do 2 more rounds of single crochets unless you want a longer leg. And I'll just repeat single crochet one more time before I go off camera. So take your stitch marker, go into that stitch, grab your yarn, pull it through, 2 loops on my hook, yarning over, pulling through both. So you're just going to do that for 2 more rounds if you're making the same one I am, and then I'll be right back once I'm done with that. So I'm back after my 2 rounds, and this is what it looks like. So basically you're done with this leg. Well, you're done with this part of the leg, and now you can just remove your stitch marker. Next, we're going to create the gap in the middle. So this part right here, what you're going to do, let me put my hook back in. So what you're going to do first is chain 1. So a chain is yarning over your hook and pulling through. And then you want to turn your work. So you can see this leg is facing me right now. I'm going to turn it the opposite way. And now this is what I see in front of me. And I'm going to single crochet 3. So you see where my hook currently is. I'm not going to crochet into that corner. I'm going to go into this next one here. So here's 1 single crochet. I'm going to go into the next one. I did say 3 times, so this is the second one. And then here's the third. So just to repeat what I did a chain 1, I turned my work, and I single crocheted 3. Next, I'm just going to repeat that 3 more times. So let's first start off by chaining 1. Let's yarn over a hook, pull through, turn our work. Now I'm back on the original side, and I'm just going to single crochet 3. So you don't go into this corner, you go into that middle one. So this is 1, here's 2, and then the third one goes into where you did your chain. So there's that chain 1 right there. I'm just going to single crochet into that, and that was Now it is a little bit harder when you go into your chain, but there goes that last one. Now I just have to repeat that 2 more times and I will just do this on camera with you guys. So let's go ahead and chain 1, turn our work, and single crochet the 3. So let's go into this one. 1, here is 2, and the last one goes into the chain, so that chain space right there. Now we just have to repeat that one last time, so let's go ahead and do our chain 1, yarn over your hook, pull through, turn, and let's go ahead and single crochet the 3. You don't go into that corner, go straight to the next stitch. That's 1, 2, and here's a 3rd. Now we're going to cut off the yarn, but don't cut it off yet. Let me show you. Let me get my scissors. Okay, so to cut off the yarn, you do want to leave some excess. You don't need that much, but I'm gonna cut off that much there because you do need some of this to sew the middle. If you watch my Among Us tutorial, you already know what I mean, because you have to sew the middle part closed since we're not going to crochet that part. Oops. Sorry, I was doing something without explaining it. But okay, so you saw that I just cut off the yarn and you see this loop here. So what I like to do to secure it is take this yarn and go through the loop, put it through that loop and just pull it. That's just one way to secure it. So we are done with this leg. Now you need to make the second leg, but when you make the second leg, do not add this part. All you have to do is just crochet this part, and then I'll be right back to show you how we can attach it together. But remember, do not create this gap because you already have it. You just need to create this part. So basically what I mean is just do rows around 1 to 4, and if you made your legs longer, of course, do as many as you did to the first leg. So I'll go ahead and do the second leg off camera, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I now have the second leg completed. So here are both of them. What we're going to do is attach them together. So let's just take the leg you finish where you don't have this middle section. So take this guy, and you want to take your stitch marker. So I have mine right here. We're going to insert the stitch marker into the 9th stitch, but counting backwards. So if I started to crochet, I would go this way. So the way I'm going to insert my stitch marker is on this side. So this one right here is 1 where you ended off. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and here is the 9th stitch. And I'm just going to insert my stitch marker there, and now we're going to attach the legs together. So once you have your stitch marker in place, go back to where you ended off your last crochet from the second leg. Let's put our hook back in, and now we're going to single crochet to attach onto this middle section right here. So you can see this yarn, just ignore it for now because we're going to use that later to sew the inside pieces together. So what you're going to do is take your crochet hook, move this part of the yarn to the front, and go into this corner right here and just do a single crochet. So remember how to do single crochet. You just insert it, you have your 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through both, and there goes your single crochet to attach your legs together. And then you want to do 2 more single crochets in between this right here. So let's just do 1 and 2. Now there's no specific stitch you're going into. You kind of just want to make your way down so you can do your next single crochet into an actual stitch of the leg. So I just basically did the attachment single crochet and then 2 more to make 3 in the middle. What I'm going to do next is single crochet into 9 stitches over here. So remember how I put a stitch mark into the 9th stitch to make it match up to this side? I'm just going to single crochet 9. So just to make this clear, you're not going into this thing right here. This is not a stitch. You can see the stitch here because it's a full one. So I'm going into this one here. Sorry, I keep going to the corner, but I'm going into this stitch, and that's going to be my first one of the 9. So this is 1. Let's go for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then if you did that correctly, you should end up right where the middle part of the gap is. Once you make it to the middle, you want to single crochet 3 times. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna start right here at this corner, and I'll just do my first one, my second one into that middle, and then right out of that corner right here, I'm just gonna do my third. So to repeat, just so we're not confused. I know there's no stitch marker here, but you can kind of see because this is literally the attachment side. So you know this is your first, second, third. You did your single crochet of 9, and now we're going to attach the next side. So you see where your stitch marker is. You're basically just going to single crochet into that. So I'm just going to leave my stitch marker there. If it's too hard for you, you can remove it, but I'll show you. You just go straight into that stitch, just kind of squeeze your way through, grab your yarn, pull it through, and do your normal single crochet. So that was 1, and I'm gonna single crochet 9 in total. So that was 1, and then I'm just gonna go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so if you follow that correctly, you should end up right back at the front. So this is where I ended off. This is that 9th stitch. You should have a total of 24 because if you did 9 single crochets on this side, 9 on this side, 3 on each of the middles, that equals 24. So what you can do next is, remember how we placed that stitch marker there in the middle? You can now just remove it and put it back to where you ended off. So this is where you ended off at my 9th, or in total it would be 24, but I'm just gonna put it right there. And that's going to be the count of my next rows as we move forward to the length of the body. And then remember how we have this gap in the middle, you're going to have to sew it. So I know it's a little bit of a mess because all of this yarn, but remember this piece right here, you're going to use that to sew the middle. So I'm just going to push it in the inside so I can work it this way. And let's go ahead and grab our threading needle. Let me insert this off camera really quick. So I've inserted the yarn through the threading needle, and what we're going to do now is just sew these pieces together. So I'm no professional at sewing, but what I'm gonna do here is, you can see where I have it right now. It's currently on this middle section. So what I'm gonna do is just go from the other side, put it through a stitch, and connect it to the corresponding piece. I'm not going to pull it too tight because I don't want it to be like too lopsided. And basically you're just going to go through a stitch, connect it to the next one. When you pull it through, it should close it up. You just do that to the end. You don't want to go to this outside because this is your stitches where you have to crochet into. You just want to stick to the middle. And then once you feel like it's close enough, what you can do is grab your crochet hook. You want to go into any stitch close by. Let's see what I want to go to. Let me go back into this. Just insert it through that little sewing stitch I made. I'm going to grab my yarn, pull it through, only enough until I have a loop. And then with that same yarn, I'm going to push it through the loop. And that's one way you can secure it. I'm going to cut it off for this video just because I don't want it to confuse anybody, but you can just leave it and use it as stuffing. But sometimes I feel like it gets in the way when I'm trying to show you how to crochet stuff. So I'm just going to cut that off, but again, you can leave yours because I will end up putting it back in as stuffing. But as you can see, now I don't really have too many pieces to worry about. I'm going to cut this one off as well, but remember, you don't have to do this. There's just a lot going on when I'm showing it in the video. So we now have the bottom of our character. Okay, so for the next round, I'm not going to show this on camera because it's just going to be a single crochet. We just want to clean up this edge a little bit. So just do 1 round of single crochet and you should end up with 24 stitches in total because you're not changing any stitch count. You're literally just going in and single crocheting. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this off camera and then I'll be right back. Okay, after 1 round of single crochets, this is what it looks like. Now you can go ahead and keep a stitch count of 24 if you don't want it to be as round as my character is. So again, you don't have to do this next increasing round I'm going to do. All you have to do is just create the body. So you would just keep going ahead and doing more rounds of 24 stitch count. But if you want a thicker body, I will show you how to do the next increasing round. So for round 2, what we're going to do is start off with an increase into the first stitch with a single crochet. So go into this first stitch and do your first single crochet, and do another one into the same stitch because it is an increase. Next, we're going to follow that by single crocheting into the next 1, 2, 3 stitches. Here is the third one, and then you just repeat that step all the way through until you get 30 stitches in total, but I will demonstrate once more before finishing off camera. So going into the next stitch, let's go ahead and do an increase. So going into that stitch, there's my first single crochet, doing another one into the same stitch. Remember, this is an increase. And then you want to follow that by single crocheting into the next 1, 2, 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Now I'll just repeat that off camera until I get 30 stitches in total in round 2. Okay, once you finish your increasing round, this is what it looks like. As you can see, it did expand just a little bit. So if you didn't like that, you can go ahead and remove this round and keep your stitch count of 24. But again, I do like having it a little bit thicker because it makes it a little bit more cushiony when you do add your stuffing. So next, what we're going to do is single crochet the length of the body. So I go up to round 8. You can do more. If you're doing it up to round 8, it will not be that tall at all. So it's super small. So you can go ahead and do 8 or 9. Also, it will depend on how much you stuff it. As you can see, this one's just a little bit taller because I put more stuffing in him to create the length. But again, you can do as many rounds as you like. I'm going to go ahead and do this off camera. Remember, they are just single crochets, so just go ahead and do about 8 or more rounds, and then I'll be back to show you how to decrease and add the eyes. Here's what it looks like after I created the length. So I did do rounds 3 to 8. You can do more if you want to, like I keep mentioning. But now I'm going to show you the decrease before I add the eyes because I kind of just want to see how it's going to look first before I put the eyes because I feel like it's going to be too low if we put it now. So let's do a decreasing row. We are going to be doing an invisible decrease. So also, if you ended off with a stitch count of 24 and you didn't do that increasing row right here, you're not going to follow this step. You're going to go to the next one because you wouldn't have 30 stitches, you would have 24. So if you have a 30 stitch count, you're going to do what I'm doing now, and you're going to start off with your invisible decrease. So we're going to be working into these 2 stitches here, and you're going into the front loop only. So to do that, you're going to take your crochet hook, insert your hook through the front loop of the stitch. You want to go poke through the middle, bend your hook down, do the same thing to the following stitch. You now have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. You have 2 loops left. Yarn over, pull through the last 2. And that's an invisible decrease. Now you're going to follow that by single crocheting into the next 1, 2, 3 stitches. So just do 1 single crochet into each of those. 3. Okay, and then you're going to repeat that all the way through until you get 24 stitches in total. So I'll demonstrate one more time. We're going to go into these 2 stitches to do an invisible decrease by going into the front loop only. So take your crochet hook, poke through the middle, just to get through the front loop there. Bend your hook down, do the same thing to the following stitch. There's our 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through the last 2, and then follow that by single crocheting into the next 1, 2, 3 stitches. And then you should end up with 24 stitches in total in this round once you repeat this all the way through, and I'll finish that off camera. So after you do your decreasing round, this is what it looks like, and now I'm going to add my safety eyes. Remember, you can choose to do any style you want. I do have these, so go ahead and decide what you want. I'm going to just place mine and see how they look. And then I'm actually going to do this off camera because I want to see if I like it or not. Okay, so these are the safety eyes, and I think I do like them, so I'm just going to leave it this style. And then you can go ahead and stuff your monster now. So I'm going to do that. Don't stuff it all the way because we still need to finish decreasing, but make sure you get the legs at the bottom. So I'll stuff this off camera and then I'll be right back. After stuffing it, this is what it looks like. So now we're going to do our next decreasing round, and if you didn't do that increasing previously, down here, this is where you'll follow me because this is where I have 24 stitches now. So what we're going to do is decrease again. So we're going to work into our first 2 stitches, and we are doing an invisible decrease, which means you're going into the front loop only. Take your crochet hook, go through the front of the first one, bend your hook down, do the same thing to the following stitch. You have your 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 stitches. You have 2 loops left on the hook, yarn over, pull through the last 2. This time you're going to single crochet into the next 1, 2 stitches. And then now you're just going to repeat that step all the way through until you end up with 18 stitches in total in this round. So I'll show you that one more time. So let's go into our next 2 stitches. Go through, poke through the middle, down, do the same thing to the following stitch. There we just went through the front loops. We're going to yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2, and then we'll single crochet into the next 1, 2 stitches. And then let's repeat that until we get 18 stitches in total in this round. So we just finished our next decreasing round, and this is what it looks like. And as you keep going, you can start stuffing it a little bit more each time we close it. But I'm actually going to be filming the rest of the video tomorrow because I need to mentally prepare myself for work now. So if you see a weird cut, that is why I couldn't finish it all in one day. So I'll be back tomorrow and we'll finish up the rest of this.